today's show.
We discuss Blake's 50-point night, whether the Pistons are the real deal, and Joel Embiid's flop.
In Crossfire, we debate if Butler will actually be traded, the team that will remain winless the longest, and a feature we'd add to an arena.
And Trey Kirby invades the Fortress in Atlanta for Doncic versus Young.
It's Wednesday, October 24th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to the starters. I'm J.E. Skeets, that's Tass Mellis, that's the Aussie Lee Ellis, and the bearded one, Trey Kirby, is down at the Fortress, aka the State Farm Arena here in Atlanta. We'll talk to him a little bit later in the show. He's getting ready for the Mavs-Hawks tonight. But we got to start with Blake Griffin going crazy by playing a little true or false, talk some Pistons, talk some Blake, because he's on fire right now. He's on fire. The Pistons star erupted for a career high 50 points, including the game-winning and one bucket and free throw in a 133-132 overtime win over Philly last night. Filled up the box score, 14 boards, 6 assists, 5 made threes, 20 of 35 from the field to go with that cool 50 points. My question, true or false? This is the best Blake Griffin we've ever seen.
I think it's true.
Think so?
I think the new NBA rules suit him with three-point shooters, less guys in the lane blocking shots, because Blake doesn't necessarily have a go-to move in there. So the fact that there's space, I think, helps him. And the second thing is he's had his first healthy offseason in 3 years.
Right.
And so he started shooting the three ball, and so far, so great. He was 5 for 10
I think
yesterday.
he's going to stay at 61%.
61%, it's going to come down for
Yeah.
sure. 30-plus points is also going to come down at some point. But I think, he is easy to forget that he's not even 30 yet.
Yeah.
So he's entering his prime. I don't think he's ever been a number one go-to scorer in the league.
He has for the last 3 games, though.
For the last 3 games, he has.
Yeah.
And he feels probably his best.
He's only had 2 turnovers, too, in 3 games, which is incredible.
Amazing.
Considering how much he's got the ball in his hands and particularly being the initiator on offense. And I think Dwayne Casey probably feels comfortable with him doing that because that three-point shot is falling right now, but he's not just staying on the three-point line. He went inside a couple of times last night and back down, but I don't think it's the best we've ever seen yet. I think still that Clippers Blake, when he was Point Blake, was the best he's ever been. I think he finished 3rd in MVP voting like 5 years ago. That, to me, was still the best Blake because he was truly dominant, particularly on the offensive end of the floor. If he can maintain this standard that he's set in these 3 games, then I think he can be a better version of what he was back then. But we just need to sort of see a couple of these things that are high water marks right now. They will come back down, and whether or not the Pistons can keep winning, because they've won so far 3 games, all by 3 points or less, which is incredible.
They could have been just as likely 0-3.
I mean, last night, JJ Redick hits
Yeah.
a 4-point play that puts his team up 2 with, 7 seconds to go, or whatever it was. That usually will close the team out, but the Pistons came back and won.
A couple things here, and we need to address it. One of the questions in the season preview was, is Blake Griffin still a superstar? We did it in the up-down report. We all went thumbs down.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch it, we were talking about he's still an all-star talent. Hopefully he's healthy and he's still a great player, but can he carry an offense, which you usually sort of think a superstar can do? We all said again, no. But again, through 3 games, he absolutely has, 100% has. And what I'm so up on this about, and I'm so happy for Pistons fans, is they need to get people down to this new arena. They, unveiled the Little Caesars Arena, the pizza box, whatever you want to call it, last year. Usually when you have a new arena, people just come out to see the new arena. Forget about what even's happening on the floor. But people didn't, it being down in downtown Detroit now. They need the buzz of a superstar player and pairing that ideally with wins. That'll get people to come out.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that they started this way, and Blake is, proving us wrong and a lot of people wrong that he looks to have taken his game to the next level. Maybe because some of the rule changes, maybe because he's added the 3-point shot, and maybe just because he's healthy. So I'm very pumped because that was the most entertaining Pistons game I've seen in maybe 5 or 6 years easily, I would say. I can't think of another one.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No.
No.
No, you're not wrong. I would like to see some other people produce more around him for this to be a playoff team, because it's not assured that they're a playoff team whatsoever.
Okay, well, let's get to that.
Just get on my segue
nice
for this
segue.
next topic.
Yeah, all right, put a helmet on. I see them in Atlanta here. All right, the lead is Blake Griffin, but let's not lose sight of the fact that the Pistons, as the guys said, are undefeated. It's the team's first 3-0 start since the 2015-16 season, which was the last time they reached the playoffs. Now, it's hilariously early here in the season, but then again, this is the Eastern Conference. So, true or false, the Pistons are a playoff lock? You're saying false.
You can't lock it in.
You can't lock it in.
They are kind of good, but not great at anything. They're a good offensive team, but not a great offensive team. They're middle of the pack in so many things like three-point makes, rebounds, assists. So they do a lot of things.
Hey, you could be average in the Eastern Conference, make the playoffs.
That's the thing. So they need to sort of keep these things up and just make sure they're consistent in these areas because they don't have great three-point shooting. They don't have great defense either, but they have solid contributors there.
Sure.
I mean, Andre Drummond, for example, he's a great presence defensively. If he can have that sort of impact that like Dwight Howard had in his prime, then that becomes a big factor for the Pistons. But if he gets in foul trouble and he gets involved in the sort of things he got involved with last night with Embiid and he's off the floor, then obviously that leaves a huge hole for them. Blake as well, the biggest key for him is whether or not he can stay on the floor because he's missed over 100 games in the last 4 seasons. Those are critical misses for this team because we know that he is a superstar talent right now. So I think a lot of things have to come together for them. Being in the Eastern Conference helps, but I certainly wouldn't lock them in just yet.
There's some talent in the Eastern Conference. I think there's at least 5 teams that you can lock into the postseason.
Okay, give them to me.
Celtics, Raps, Pacers, Sixers, and Bucks. And I would throw the Heat onto this list because the way the Heat work, they're not going anywhere. Yeah, lock them in.
Look, I agree with
the
those
Wizards, the Wizards, I think they should be there too. I would take them over any other Eastern Conference team.
Okay, so if we agree on those 5 that we're showing you, and then you're throwing the Heat, I agree they're in the mix, and the Wizards obviously in the mix. There's just too much talent if they're all healthy, both of those squads. So that leaves the one spot left. Are the Pistons better than all of the remaining teams that we haven't listed?
You've locked in the Hornets already, I think.
Yeah, I think
So
I
so
dream
you're
about
getting-
that as the 8th team over the Pistons. And I thought the Pistons, they haven't been a really well-rounded team so far this season. They needed a 50-point game from Blake to beat a Sixers team that didn't have Ben Simmons.
Yep.
And then they beat the Nets barely on the last possession. They beat the Bulls barely on the last possession, who haven't won a game yet. This can't be a one-man show. You mentioned Andre Drummond. Will his impact on the game be taken away a little bit because you can't impede? Guys aren't going to be slowed down for him at the back line. Backline guys they're starting to fade even on that end of the floor as well, these monstrous guys. There's special players like Clint Capella and Andre Drummond can do that, but will he be enough? He had a bad night offensively last night as well. He's got to be better offensively. There's talent on that roster, but they really have to improve around Blake. It's been a one-man show so far.
You agree?
Yeah, I like Dwayne Casey there, though. I think he's a nice coach for them. I think he's probably an improvement on Stan Van, who was a little bit old school, and he'd probably worn out his welcome a little bit. But Dwayne Casey's motivated again. He's got talented players. It's now whether or not he can get them to mesh, because he did improve the Raptors. Remember when he came to Toronto, it was like they had their best run in franchise history under Dwayne. So he knows how to coach. He knows how to get results out of players when he doesn't have a super deep team. That's going to be important, but can't lock them in. I just can't lock, because they started well last season as well, and then they faded.
Yeah,
and, then they
and a
made
team
the
like the
trade.
Orlando Magic started on fire last season, and we drew the same thing. Are they a playoff block?
And all those injuries you mentioned about Blake, Reggie Jackson has injury concerns. There's
Okay,
there's
so
a lot
we're
of
high
ifs.
on them, but we're not locking them in. All right, final one here, guys. Late in the fourth quarter of this game we're talking about, Joel Embiid appeared to flop to the ground while going for a rebound.
Appeared?
With Andre Drummond. Now, it resulted in Drummond's second technical foul, so he was tossed. All night long, Embiid was yelling, "You can't guard me" at Drummond, and he had a good game. But after the game, Embiid said, quote, "I feel like I own a lot of real estate in Drummond's head," end quote. This was in a loss, so true or false? Joel Embiid's trolling here has gone a little too far because it's coming in a loss and he's talking the junk. Agree or disagree?
I'm fine with it. He continues to back it up. He had a great game, a really great game, and he continues to beat Andre Drummond. So if this continues to work, hey, I'm okay with it.
You can talk trash in a loss. You're fine with that, as long as you put up a good game. And he did, you're right, 33-11.
In the interview, he also did say, I shouldn't talk trash because it is a loss, but I own him.
Couldn't help himself.
He couldn't help himself. So he did mention that.
That doesn't sneak into the headline. You're
That
right.
is not even the sub-headline. No, no one cares about that. But he did mention that.
Right now, I don't think it's a problem, but I think it could become a problem if he continues to talk trash and it becomes a distraction to his team. And maybe in the locker room, people are like, all right, you've talked enough. We know you're a troll. You love getting into other guys' faces, but let's make sure we're winning first. That's the most important thing, because you don't want anyone to start thinking like he's more worried about his Instagram post or his tweet after the game. You've got to get those wins first.
Yeah. We don't know how great he is a teammate in the locker room, but I'm assuming that he is a great teammate.
Right.
And he's not so worried about putting the location on an Instagram post. I don't think he's thinking about that when he's schooling somebody in there. And I think it's probably good for the locker room as well, that they can just laugh at it and chuckle at the outside noise, but they know in there that Joel Embiid comes in and day out and works his butt off.
Yeah, what about the flop, though? And what I'm getting at here is the public perception going to change about Joel Embiid? Because for the most part, the last couple of years when he's been playing, when he's been dominating, people love him.
Yep.
He's funny, he's hilarious, he'll say whatever he wants. But when you start to mix in, you talk this in a loss and you're flopping now, that starts to, sour people. You start to become the villain a little bit more. And this isn't surprising. If you've watched the show for a while, I remember Trey Kirby saying this last year, I believe, at some point, saying, enjoy Joel Embiid and the Sixers now because people are going to turn on them.
Yeah.
This becomes like a tiring act. And I think that's maybe what's slowly starting to happen.
And Embiid knows that himself.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah, no, and I think as well, like nothing here is cruel or nasty. This is just him. He likes to play these games and he likes to get involved. And he knows that he's going to be on the end of a few as well. He knows he's going to get dunked on. He knows he's going to get trolled in social media. But he's like, bring it on, because he can take it as well as he can give it. So I'm fine with it as long as the Sixers keep winning and things don't start to get a bit crazy in that locker room.
He eats his words sometimes, too, when he loses.
Yeah.
When he lost to the Celtics in the postseason, when he lost to the Celtics in Game 1 of this season, he said, that's not a rivalry because we can't beat them. So I think he is pretty level-headed. But when it comes to Andre Drummond...
Yeah, they were talking last season how much they hate each other and this guy's defense sucks and this guy can't stay healthy. They go back and forth. Let's hear from you guys, though. Do you guys love it? Embiid going too far? What do you think about Blake? Jump on Twitter, #TheStarters with your answers. We got lots more still to come on the show when we come back. Tass and Lee step into the crossfire to debate whether or not the Wolves are actually going to trade Jimmy Butler. Is this going to happen? What's going on here? Back in a second. Welcome to Crossfire. Here's how this works. The champ, Tass Mellis, is going to take on the challenger, Lee Ellis, in 3 rounds of questions. And at the end of it all, I'll declare a winner. The Crossfire championship belt is on the line. Guys, round 1. As we head in to tonight's NBA schedule, 4 winless teams remain. Da Bulls, Cavs, Lakers, and Thunder. I want you to look into your crystal ball and tell me which will be the last team to win a game. Here we go.
It's the Thunder. I know it's surprising to hear that, but Thursday night they play the Celtics, who are just embarrassed by the Magic. The Celtics are going to move that basketball around and beat that Thunder team. Then they play Phoenix on Sunday, but in between, those other teams, Chicago, the Lakers, and the Bulls, they've got some easy.
Oh,
yes, they
easy. You're talking about the Charlotte Hornets in a back-to-back, and then the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls, are coming down to the Fortress to try to get a win.
Yeah, home and home with the Hornets. I like it. The Hawks,
So you're taking the Bulls.
I'm taking the Chicago Bulls. Offensively, they've been okay this season. We kind of knew that coming in, but defensively, oh my goodness. I could score against the Chicago Bulls right now. That's the problem. They can't stop anyone. So when they go against the Hornets and then the Hawks, can't see it. It's going to be November before the Bulls get their first W.
Somebody's been looking at the calendar. All right, round 2. Jimmy Butler went from booze to MVP chance in his home opener in Minnesota. Surprisingly, the trade talks have sort of quieted down here, guys, but I want you to tell me, what do you think? Is Jimmy Buckets going to be traded this season or not? Here we go.
Yes, he is. He has to be.
Okay.
What are they doing there in Minnesota? We know he's leaving next season no matter what, so you've got to cash in while you can. He's still their best player. He's shown he's in great shape. He sits out a game and they lose. When he's playing, they're 2-1. Jimmy Butler is their best player. Therefore, he's their most valuable trade asset. The Timberwolves have to move on from him and start afresh right now.
You're right, he is their best player. That's why they're keeping him. The man making the decisions wants to win. The man making the decision is Tom Thibodeau. He coaches this team.
Are they keeping Towns and Wiggins as well then?
Yeah, well, the Towns and Wiggins are not faring any better with Jimmy Butler not around. They're 0-1 without him. They aren't being themselves, I totally agree. But they're not going to win without him.
Yeah.
They were 10-13 last year without Jimmy Butler. They need to win in Minnesota.
And
Tom
then he
Thibodeau wants to win.
Anything
that they trade for will not be as good as Jimmy Butler. Not going to happen.
Whoa, all right. We head into the 3rd round. The Hawks are going to show off their renovated arena tonight. We got new concourse, big new screen, golf suites, full-service barber. So I want you guys to tell me, if you were building an arena, which wild attraction would you want in it? Here we go.
What if I told you you could watch an NBA game from above? We're going to suspend a glass ceiling that you would be walking on top of. A glass floor.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
It's the exact same size as an NBA floor, 50 by 94 feet. 50 fans can run up and down like your referees and look down at the floor. Of course, we're going to have walls there like you're at a Fuerza Brute show, a huge box. But it would be fun to be running up and down. Just 50 fans. It's not going to be packed.
You know what is
exclusive.
Fun? A dartboard. Playing darts is always
Dartboard?
good fun, especially when you've had a few beers. Have you ever seen Skeetsy walk past the dartboard? He can never do it. He
One
loves throwing a
homogeneity.
few darts. So I think you've got to get a dartboard down at the
They
fortress.
probably have a dartboard.
No, I don't think they do. People think it's dangerous having darts. It's actually not that dangerous because you've got to stand behind the throwers.
Lee, I was siding with you until you went with a dartboard. I gotta
give me
go
this thing.
with Taskmello's
Just give me this thing. A dartboard
Yeah,
is the
wait.
best thing you could put in an NBA arena.
I'm telling you, man, you see darts, you're throwing darts. You love it. Great fun. Can't do it sober. You gotta-
Sorry, Lee.
H-E-S.
You had me up until the dartboard. All right, when we come back, Trey meets Trey. Yes, Trey Kirby talking to Trey Young down at the Fortress, where they may or may not have installed a dartboard.
They should have.
I'm a traveling man, doing all that I can. My house is where
Welcome back to the starters. It's a busy 11-game night in the association, and tipping us off is down in Atlanta, the Hawks and the Mavericks. And joining us now from the swag shop in the new Hawks Arena, there he is, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey, oh, TK, you're taking off the beard here in the swag shop?
I'm just getting cleaned up by my man K Fresh here, but I do want to watch the game here from the swag shop. This thing is amazing, though I will say most people are agreeing, gotta keep the curls.
Got to keep the curls. Yeah, I mean, you've been there for a couple hours now. You've got a chance to sort of see the renovated arena. In addition to the swag shop, I mean, what else can you tell us? It looks like there's a giant new video screen behind you.
Oh yeah, along with the swag shop, I would say the video screen is the biggest improvement. If you've been in the former Phillips Arena, now State Farm Arena in the past, it was not a huge video screen. Now it's humongous. They've got, I hear, 10 times more video available in the arena. It looks so much more modern, so much more open. Tass, you're gonna love the sight lines here.
Oh, Tess is pumped. Tess, we're all heading down. We're going to meet you down there very, very soon. Look, okay, before, we talk maybe a little bit more about the arena, you had a chance to catch up with Trey Young, and he's obviously matched up here with Luka Doncic. They're going to be forever linked. Let's roll that video of TK, Trey, our Trey, talking to Trey Young from the Hawks.
What's up, guys? I'm here with Hawks rookie Trey Young. Trey, big night tonight, the first game of the remixed, renamed State Farm Arena. Have you given any thought to how things are going to play out, how you're going to break in this new building?
No, I mean, we want to break it out with a win. I'm really looking forward to playing in this arena. I know my teammates as well, so I'm just really excited to play in it. It's a really nice arena. I think we even got barbershops, things like that in here, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, everybody's been talking, obviously, about you and Luka Doncic facing off for the first time. What's it feel like for you going against him in the NBA for the first time?
I mean, it's gonna be, cool. I got to know Luka a lot over this past summer. So he's a really good dude. I know he's a really good, talented player. But at the end of the day, it's my team versus his, and so that's how I'm going about it. Not making it a one-on-one thing.
You mentioned the barbershop. As soon as we're done on having up that swag shop, what do I got to do to unlock the swag, ice Trey the game?
You got it. You got it. I like the button up, everything you got going on. You know how to rock the ice Trey for sure.
All right, good luck tonight, Trey. We're keeping it Trey to Atlanta here.
Keeping it Trey to Atlanta.
Keeping it Trey to Atlanta. And as you saw, Trey Young said I already got the swag. So, like I said, just getting cleaned up here, trying to look fresh for opening night.
Yeah, I mean, I want him to just take off the beard. That would be amazing. Just one clean swipe. Would you freak out, Trey?
He was aghast at the thought of even trying to cut off my beard. He's like, no way. Everybody here, it's an Atlanta institution. Gotta keep the beard.
One thing with this game, I mean, all eyes are going to be on, obviously, Trey Young versus Luka Doncic. Very excited for that. But the Hawks do have some good news. They have a returning player. I mean, it's not John Collins, but it is one of their big guys, Trey, in Dwayne Dedmon. Is that correct?
Yeah, Dwayne Dedmon's back. He's going to be on a minutes restriction, but I think it's going to be good for them to get just another veteran back. Alex Len's been doing all right, and I just think having another guy who is a professional will help the Hawks here tonight at the home opener.
Lee, while we have Trey joining us
Yeah.
here live from the arena, did you want to share the news that he's not going to have a seat with us now because you gave it away to someone?
Look at the seat he's got right now. I want his seat, man. Yeah.
You gave away my ticket?
I'm coming for a
I'm
haircut.
paying by the minute here, Lee. That's all right. This is the best seat in the house anyways. I think this is my new permanent barber. Shout out K-Fresh.
Yeah, that does look amazing. I didn't realize that you can watch the game while you're sitting there getting the beard trimmed up. That's fantastic. You have a chance to walk around the concourse or even get into the Top Golf suites or anything? Any of that fun?
I haven't seen the Top Golf suite yet. I don't know if I'm a big enough big timer, but I did peep all the concourses. The food is much improved. There's a whole bunch of stuff about the Zac Brown band. I'm not really deep into country music, but I was checking out his Grammys, and honestly, I might be a Zac Brown band fan now.
Okay, yeah, Zac Brown band. He's going to be performing the national anthem. Future at halftime. Trey getting a haircut. We'll see you in, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, Trey.
All right, I will be the one outside trying to find a ticket. Thanks, Lee.
Just don't leave. You're fine. You're fine. All right. When we come back, Lee, I told you, man, he's going to be very upset. You gave away his ticket. When we come back, the very solid play from the Aussie. Don't go anywhere. Tonight's pick and play, it's the Mavs and the Hawks. We're all heading down to the State Farm Arena in mere minutes. Everybody's got the Hawks except for me. I can't lose this way. Either the Hawks win, I'm having a blast, or the Mavs win, and I pick up the game in the pick. Very solid play, Lee.
Yeah, going to Denver, but it's a beauty. A double bounce pass here from the Sacramento Kings. Willie Cauley with a beautiful feed. Yogi Ferrell finishes. That's what I call a very solid play.
Very solid play. Also, some fantastic news. It took us about 50 games, but we got our first wedgie of the season. Nikola Mirotic, a rare two-point shot, floater, sticks.
What a season he's having, Nikola Mirotic.
Right.
Finally got one.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
Way
good.
to go, Nikola. Way to go. Wedgie number 1 on the year.
All right, Lee, we got a fan sign.
We're going out to Bris Vegas, and it's a young Dan here. He drew a starter's comic. Beautiful job there. He's only 8 years old.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there is. That's the League Pass commercial that they see on in Australia.
Oh.
So that's me getting my chest hair ripped off at some point.
Oh, excellent. All right. Well, that's it for us. We'll see you maybe down at the Fortress, and 10 before tip coming up next.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, this was not an ad for Killer Mike's Swag Shop or State Farm Arena. Trey just needed a haircut.
Well, this looks good. Yeah, very good, Trey.
Shapely.
Brace the night, people.
Yeah, yeah.